So which one do you want to use? The h one?
Yeah.
So the limit as h goes to 0 of f of a plus h minus what? F of a all over h. Yay, you got it. You got it. Okay. So what's this going to be? It's going to be the limit of a plus h. In this case, what is a equal to? Oh, well, hold on. We already know. We have to keep a in there, right?
Yeah.
Plus the square root of a plus h minus what? A plus root a all over h. What automatically cancels already? Those cancel. Is that correct? Yeah, so you end up with, and I'm sensing an annoyance here. I can sense the wall you ran into if you tried this. You ended up with this, a plus h minus the square root of a all over. How many people got to there? You do know what to do next, and I'd imagine you tried some guesses and then it didn't go very well. What's the only operation you're really allowed to do at this point? Can you factor?
No.
Is there any cool trig identity? No. What did you try to do? You can't square. You can only square if it equaled something, but I tried. I like that. You can only do what? What's the only operation you could do? Multiply by a form of 1 that would be a conjugate. You want to multiply, conjugate's not really a precise word in this case, but you're trying to multiply by some sort of form of the numerator over itself. Did anybody try that? You understand what I mean by conjugate?
Yeah.
So one way to do this is you can kind of think of it as a lot of guess and check. I mean, you can guess that it's going to be root a plus h something and root a plus h something, right?
Yeah.
And then it's going to be some combination of plus and minus for the other terms right here. No matter how you do it, you're hoping that what happens eventually?
The square root cancel out.
Well, enough things cancel out so that what can you get rid of? Hopefully you get rid of the root, right? And hopefully you can cancel out the h from the denominator, right? Actually, it's okay if that root is there. You just have to be able to cancel the h out of the denominator. So you have to basically do a lot of guess and check on this one, which is kind of annoying. Realize that you have to multiply by some form of 1 at some point to clean that up. That's really your only viable option. You don't have too many options for attacking limits yet. One thing you can do, just as just an algebraic manipulation, you can turn this into this. H over h plus the square root, too big. The square root of a plus, wish I could just write properly. A plus h minus root a all over h. What have I done there? Have I changed the overall value? No. Well, what is h over h? So that just makes it a little easier to multiply around. You end up with 1 plus this thing right here. A plus h plus, or excuse me, minus what? All over h. So you can change this to be 1 plus the limit as h goes to 0 of this thing. And this is a little easier to deal with. What do you want to multiply this by? Plus root a all over the square root of a plus h plus root a. And what do you end up with? The limit as h goes to 0 of a plus h. The middle terms cancel, and what are you left with? Minus a all over root a plus h plus root a. What cancels on top? The a's cancel. Is that kind of cool? So you end up with, there's another h in the middle? Oh yes, and there's an h down there. Thank you. So you end up with, oh, and then, so that cancels too? Excellent. So you end up with the limit as h goes to 0 of 1 over the square root of a plus h plus root a. So what's that going to be? 1 plus 1 over what? 2 root a. You end up with 2 root a's right there. You end up with a plus 0 is a. This right here is 100% correct. This is annoying. I generally wouldn't give you something like this because unless you did, kids, unless you did not that one, I'm sorry. Unless you did this right here, I would say is the key to the whole thing. If you don't take that step, is it really hard to figure out what to multiply by? Yeah.
So at that, what that gives you is
If we work on that right now, we end up with, okay, we have two fractions. What do we need to do?
common denominator.
Common denominator. So you end up with a squared minus a plus h squared all over a plus h squared times a squared all over. All I did was add fractions right there. That's all I did. What do I do to, now what do I have to do? Well, I can take away this h and just put it where? Right there. Is everybody okay with that? I've just done a few pieces of simplification all in one step. Yay. What do I have to do now? What do I have to do now?
You have to do the a squared.
Yeah, a squared plus 2ah plus over h a plus a. Don't multiply things out unless you have to. What cancels on top? Those are gone. And then the h's cancel right there, and you're left with what? Negative 2a minus h all over a plus h squared times, and it's the limit as h goes to. So it's going to be negative 2a over what? A what? A cubed, right? So what's that equal? Negative 2 over a squared. That is 100% correct right there. That is 100% correct. Absolutely. So yes, you have to make sure you get all the exponents. Absolutely. There it is.